Welcome to Living in Grand Rapids, the podcast. I am Josh May, and I'm so excited to be here today. We're in episode 9, and we are talking with Brian Mulhook from Dwelling Place, a phenomenal nonprofit organization in Grand Rapids. You know, I moved down here 20 years ago, and Dwelling Place has been like a household name in the Grand Rapids community, the real estate community. Being a realtor, it's just a name that everybody knows, but we want the viewers to know more. And we're excited to have you here chatting today. So thank you, man.
Yeah, you went to the source. I'm glad. I'm glad.
I appreciate that.
Thanks for having us.
I'm excited. I think one of my first questions would be is, as we were chatting before the show, you know, everybody knows the name Dwelling Place, but let's dig a little bit deeper. You know, let's talk about who you guys are, what you stand for, maybe a little background, and just share. That'd be awesome.
For sure. Yeah. So Dwelling Place has been around. The reason why everybody knows our names, we've been around for a while. We've been around. This is our 41st year. And over those 41 years, we have been first and foremost focused on housing, providing housing to the community. But over those 40 years, we've been in evolution, trying to serve community needs surrounding housing. And so our mission is to improve the lives of people by providing affordable housing, essential support services, and serving as a catalyst for neighborhood revitalization. Because we know that housing, it's more than just the roof over your head. It's about the people that you are connected with, the people who have the tools to help you, advance in your goals. And it's about the neighborhood that you live in and what access to opportunity you have in that neighborhood. So we try to meet all those needs through those kind of 3 primary things: the provision of housing, support services, and neighborhood revitalization.
Awesome. Yeah. I love it, which leads me to my next question. So, you know, young and naive, I always was thinking Dwelling Place was just kind of focused on downtown Grand Rapids. Let's let everybody know. I mean, are you guys just downtown, or are you spread out a little bit?
No, you're not naive for thinking that, because that's where our headquarters is. That's where our mission started 40 years ago, when we purchased a building called the Dwelling Place Inn. And at the time, it was a hotel that was being used for sort of transitional housing, single men who were looking for a place to stay for maybe a week at a time, maybe a month at a time. And it was really dilapidated. And at the same time, in downtown Grand Rapids, the beautiful Pantland Hotel, now known as the Amway Grand, of course, was just renovated. And so real estate speculators that sat on our original board understood that there was going to be a conflict there. There's all these kind of lower income people living in the Hartside neighborhood. And then there's all this investment coming in. And they saw that these 2 forces were going to butt heads, and people were going to have to move out. They were going to be displaced. And so Dwelling Place, since its origin, was always meant to prevent that displacement. And that really started in Hartside, because that's where the redevelopment of downtown was most visible, really. But of course, that doesn't just happen in urban settings. We've seen that as real estate cycles sort of churn and change over time. Dwelling Place has been reactive to that. So nowadays, we are in 4 counties across West Michigan. So we're all the way up in Oceana County and Muskegon County. We have a couple of properties in Muskegon County. We have one beautiful property in Holland, in Ottawa County. And then most of our housing is in downtown Grand Rapids, but more broadly also in Kent County. So we're as far as kind of Kentwood area and Rockford. And but like I said, a lot of our housing, probably a good 60% of our housing, is provided right in the core city, in West Side neighborhoods as well, but definitely Hartside focused, and that is where our roots are. And Hartside is also in downtown is sort of where that's where our office is located, and that's where my department, which is the Community Building and Engagement Department, we do our neighborhood revitalization work there. And of course, we branch out to all of the communities that we serve. Like I mentioned, we're all over the place, and we want to make sure that we're providing housing that's in awesome neighborhoods across that portfolio. But Hartside is a really great place to have our hub and to be located and to serve the needs of that population there.
No, that's amazing. And we've done some events in the past with Hartside, you know, the ministry, and have seen how some of the neighbors, which I'm assuming Dwelling Place is housing a lot of people.
Yes,
right?
a lot of people that you see in Hartside are our residents. And they use some of the services in the neighborhood, and they work around Grand Rapids. So yeah, it's a really good mix of people. But we've worked with Hartside Ministries too. They're a great crew there.
No, I can see how you guys have an awesome partnership, and everything kind of goes hand in hand. And I think it's good to know, where you guys are at. And it's not just centered on those couple blocks of Hartside. You guys are spreading out, and you've got some great things going on to help people out. So
yes, so some of the properties that we've constructed in the last just 2 or 3 years have included Harrison Park Apartments, which is I believe 40 affordable 2 and 3 bedroom apartments for families. On the west side on Alpine, but everyone thinks of Alpine, I think of the busy streets north of the highway, but this is like in the West Grand neighborhood. So it's very urban setting still there. So that just went up in 2018, I believe. And then just this year, we opened up Avenida Brillante and Suroeste Brillante, which are 2 new developments in the Roosevelt Park neighborhood. So on the southwest side. And those are just gorgeous. And those are also kind of 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, more designed for families. And all of those properties, all those apartment communities are affordable rate or available to people with disabilities and who are, maybe they have a housing voucher or some other subsidized income. And so we provide housing to sort of those higher need populations, as well as people who are just looking for an affordable place to live. Because mixed development is really how you create diverse neighborhoods and prevent people from being displaced at the same time.
So as a real estate professional, my question kind of moves towards, now that we understand a little bit more about Dwelling Place and where you guys are at and where you're going on a day-to-day basis as professionals, we can't help but think of, population keeps growing, housing demand is very high, and I'm just not sure how everybody can find a place right now. I mean, you guys have to be dealing with the same thing, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm just wondering, what does that process look like for you guys? Is there a long waiting list? How do you handle that?
So, Dwelling Place exists to provide housing choice. But in this market, in this climate that we're in, that is not always feasible. So luckily, with a large property portfolio, we can provide options to people who need housing right away. Because we can almost, I don't want to say always find a place for someone to stay, but we are really cognizant of the needs that people have in terms of finding housing soon. However, like you said, there are waiting lists. There are long lines to find a place that is safe for your family, it's safe for you. And that is definitely a growing need. And it's something that, our development team is always working to acquire properties, build new ones. And we are, and another kind of issue that kind of dovetails with that is the need for not only rent. All of the things that I've been talking about so far are kind of in reference to rental housing. Which is vital for people who are lower income. But we believe that, and this is just kind of a fact, that the quickest way to grow wealth is to own a home, is to have equity in a place, is to, be paying for your future. And so we just launched this year a new line of business, which is our community land trust program, where Dwelling Place, we have, like I said, we have a large property portfolio. And some of those units that are on that property are being put up for sale by the Dwelling Place Community Land Trust, and we will retain ownership of the land underneath the home, but the home can be sold then for as low as 65% of the appraised value. And so that really reduces the barrier for some of those low income families who have no other opportunity to build wealth. especially in this market.
Yeah.
So that's a really exciting kind of diverging path. But, like I said, it's a very interrelated path with just the need for more homes. So that's a really exciting line of business that we're starting, and that involves building more homes.
Okay.
Since we're a larger nonprofit, we have some of the capital to finance those from the get-go, and then really CLT home ownership. I keep using the acronym because it's colloquial for me, but that's Community Land Trust again.
Yeah.
That financing is actually a very secure way for people to build equity while also having the property's affordability protected over time. So it's a really, really cool way that we're addressing both the need for more housing and the need for generational wealth building for families.
It's amazing. And you guys, do you feel like you're just getting started in that, or?
That is a brand new line of business. So although it's been a dream of our outgoing CEOs for 10 years or more, he and our board have worked tirelessly to finally launch this. And it's definitely the culmination that now leads to this whole new window of opportunity.
Yeah.
So we are totally just getting started. I think we have somewhere between 10 and 20 units that are for sale right now.
Okay.
But that's only going to grow as we grow as well.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
So super cool to hear. So we've got the affordable housing rental opportunities. We've got future home ownership, and you guys are growing, which is great. But I think there's probably, this is your wheelhouse, is volunteer opportunities, and how the general public can get involved. I know that we're always looking for ways to get involved with, nonprofits, community related. So how can people help? Let's talk about some cool ways that people can get involved, both, just hands-on or financially, or I kind of want to hear it all. If you're good with that.
Totally. I'm great with that. So like you said, it's my wheelhouse. I love doing the work. So like I said, I talked about kind of our three-pronged mission: providing housing, support services, and neighborhood revitalization. This really fits into kind of those latter two categories. A layperson like you or I can't go out and build a 50-unit beautiful apartment building. But what we can do is we can make sure that we are supporting residents in need. Some of this work is very hands-on. Residents often have to move from one property to another and don't have the physical ability to do so. Like I said, a lot of our residents are disabled or have some other needs that prevent them from moving on their own. So packing boxes and helping residents, this is a great chance to get to know people and get to know their lives too. You get to see our really awesome apartment communities as well. So packing boxes with residents and getting them ready to move is a great way to get involved. Another part of that support services, when residents are moving in for the first time, a lot of them are coming from unhoused situations, whether they were living with a family member for a few years or they were literally homeless, so living on the street, staying in a shelter. Moving into housing for the first time can be really financially overwhelming. And staying put in that housing can be hit or miss if they're not being supported. So we try to one of the ways that we try to provide support services right from the get-go is by handing them a basket of household essentials that you and I take for granted until we go to move and we forget the toilet paper, and we lose our body wash, and we don't have a way to clean our bathroom. And so those are the items that we provide that anyone could use when they're moving, but especially kind of those people coming from an unhoused situation. That means a world of difference. Not only is it a financial burden lifted from their shoulders, but it's also such a neighborly gesture. And so we run these, what we call welcome home basket drives. And companies get involved, families get involved, sometimes individuals get involved by assembling a basket of kind of their favorite household items and dropping them off at our offices. And then when we have a move-in, we can provide that to the residents. And some people like to write a little card and say, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. And so that we have a great response from our residents with that.
That's awesome.
So, and then in terms of that third leg of the mission, the neighborhood revitalization, making sure that our communities are livable, making sure our communities are beautiful and enjoyable places to stay. That's a lot of landscaping, a lot of curb appeal improvements that we can make as volunteers. Just tomorrow, I'm going to be over at one of my favorite properties called Reflections. It's on Hall Street, right near Hall and Madison. And we're going to be planting a bunch of flowers out front because residents hang out on the front porch and, you know, they're seniors and this is kind of towards the end of their lives and they're relaxing, making connections with each other. Yeah. And we want to provide an environment that's welcoming to do so. Yeah. So that's a really cool way that people can do hands-on kind of dirty work with us. Okay. And those opportunities go throughout the summer. And another one of those neighborhood revitalization pieces involves public art. So we have a really cool chance this summer to install 5 murals in the Hartside neighborhood. Okay. And these murals are, of course, I mean, who doesn't love having a awesome piece of artwork installed in their neighborhood, right? Or in their city, in their place of work. But these murals are also going to tell the story of Hartside through the lenses of people of color, of the queer community, different kind of groups that have been forced out of traditional history narratives. So we're really excited about the artists that we have commissioned for this big mural project. But volunteers are going to be painting the base coats of those walls to prepare for the artists to install them. And so they'll get to work with artists, get to hear about the story of that artwork. So that's for any of your kind of culture freaks and your art nerds out there. That's a really cool way to get involved. And it's a super high need because we have a lot of surface area of walls to paint and getting my sunscreen ready. It'll be fun.
That is awesome. That is super cool. I can see, you know, some groups, some companies, some organizations getting together and reaching out to you guys and saying, hey, how can 3 or 4 of us come down and help out? Yeah. So lots of ways, you know, whether it's a little bit of labor, whether it's putting some baskets together, whether it's, you know, help with landscaping, flowers, revitalization, like you said. And then I'm assuming, you know, just the basic of financial support. People can approach you guys in a way, maybe through the website or. Yeah.
So one of our kind of foci right now in terms of financial support is that CLT program I was talking about. Yeah. There's still one barrier that I didn't address, which is the down payment. Okay. No matter what, you're going to have a down payment, even if you're buying at a very low level, and that can be the barrier that prevents someone who's renting from buying and building equity in their own future. Yeah. So we're creating, as our executive director of 33 years, Denny Sturdivant is retiring this year. Yeah. Kind of his outgoing initiative is to create this scholarship fund for that down payment. I'm sorry, not scholarship fund, but a down payment fund. This will go directly to families who are in need of that first step towards owning their own home.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
I mean, that's something where somebody can play an integral part in another getting into home ownership, which can then potentially change somebody's life.
Absolutely.
You know, so that's a huge piece.
There. It's a great gift, I think, that you can provide. You know, our director of support services, Alonda Trammell, she's also been around for 30 years and with Dwelling Place. And one of the quotes that she just hit us with the other day was, one of the greatest gifts you can give is the tools to manage your own life. Yeah. It's to give someone the opportunity to be in charge of their own world. Yeah. And I think that, you know, people that are, have been disenfranchised by our society sometimes feel as if that is not their case. They don't have the tools to be in charge of their own lives. There's decisions being made that affect them, and it feels powerless. So I think that is one of the really tangible ways. All of these things that we've talked about are really tangible ways to give a piece of that back.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I've learned a ton, and I love you guys. I mean, I think you have just a great mission, great hearts, doing the right thing. It's such a big picture and such a need, you know, in West Michigan. So definitely want to commend you. Yeah. And any closing words that you want to spread to the.
I love you too, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thanks, seriously, thanks for having us. I mean, it's great to talk about, and especially with people who know housing, who know the need. Like talking to the general public, it can be a big hurdle to get them on our playing field of like, no, there is a need, there is a serious need, but talking to someone like yourselves, I think is really really nice and refreshing to talk to some housing folks.
And it's all about awareness, right? Let's bring some awareness to the realities. Sometimes, let's be honest, people can get stuck in their bubble wherever they're at, whether that's in a suburb, and they're comfortable and they don't have to think about the realities, but let's bring some awareness to help spread the love. And like I said, I think you guys are doing great things. So thank you so much, Brian, for coming down here. I'll let you get back to living in Grand Rapids. We'll let the viewers get back to living in Grand Rapids and the listeners. Have a great day, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We'll chat soon. See ya.